Hello and welcome back to the channel. Okay, right, so this is going to be a weekly news special based on Halo Infinite being delayed till 2021. Right, so I want to get this video basically is to get some facts out there. There's a lot of people misleading and sort of running on their own narratives to why this has all been delayed and pretty much making clickbait videos about it, especially from a certain fan base. I won't go into what YouTube channels are doing it, but there's various YouTube channels that are just trying to jump on the Xbox hate and hating on a game being delayed, basically, and are just making up stuff about it for some reason to support their console war, in brackets, narrative. So I'm just going to run through some facts about the delay. So firstly, let's hit the delay itself. Halo Infinite has been announced and delayed until 2021. Developer 343 Industries announced Tuesday. Studio head Chris Lee made the announcement published on social media and the Halo Infinite blog. Lee said the decision to hold the game until 2021 was made due to multiple factors, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts. So let's just highlight that. It was made due to multiple factors, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts. He noted that it's not sustainable for the team to rush it out for this holiday when Microsoft's Xbox Series X is slated for its launch. So I'm basically going to go through what those multiple factors are. A lot of people are saying that it's been delayed just due to COVID, which is an excuse by 343, which is quite ironic really, because we've had pretty much all the games this year delayed due to COVID and nothing's been said about them. Halo's been delayed due to COVID and it's been getting ignored and hate. I mean, we've even had conferences like E.G.G. cancelled over COVID. But I'll come back to all that. So let's look at the truth of the matter then, shall we? Let's look at these multiple factors which they are accounting for. Let's begin from the beginning, shall we? Okay, the game's been in development for around 5 years now. Following on from its reveal at the Xbox digital event, the game looked a bit lackluster in not the gameplay. The gameplay was perfect and spot on. Some of the details are great. However, the graphics didn't hold up. This is due to several factors, really, and people on many of these sites which I spoke of seem to be trying to mislead people and blatantly lie, saying the game was delayed because it's just they're not very good developers, and they're just ignoring the fact that the developers created a whole new engine for Halo, and they're saying that's not true. There is nothing on the internet that says that. They're basically trying to debunk that there's a slipstream engine. Anyway, this is by segment next. Slipstream engine. So this game's taken 5 years to develop so far, and a lot of this was taken up by the actual creation of the Slipstream engine, which does exist, and they did make it, and it has taken up a lot of the time of the game. The game's not been in development for exactly 5 years. It's only actually been in development for about 2 years. So let's look at this. For the latest edition in the Halo franchise, developer 343 Industries has created a brand new engine from the ground up. The studio had nothing but praise for the new engine. The Slipspace engine is allowing the studio to do things that were impossible regarding the development of Halo Infinite. The director of the Halo franchise, Frank O'Connor, stated in a video that the Slipstream engine was created for next generation game development while being easier to work with. So let me scroll down here. In 2018, we heard that the Slipspace engine might still be in development. So they're still developing this engine in 2018. The chances of this new engine seeing the light of day seems low. Then last year, so that'd be 2019, 343 Industries attributed the delay of Halo Infinite is due to them switching engines. So they completed the Slipstream, and then now the process is them now trying to work the Halo game into the new engine. The engine that they were switching over to was the Slipspace engine. The previous engine seemed to be running into obstacles when designing Halo 5. So it's had problems from the outset, and this is due to the last engine, which I think used Unreal Engine 4. So Unreal Engine 4 wasn't capable of running this game. So they've had to make a new engine, adapted a new engine for this game, and then they've had to adapt the game into the new engine. This is what's taking the time, as they say. It's all here. You can try using Google, people. The people that say it's all nonsense, just use Google, right? Just work on YouTube. Spend the weekend learning how to use Google, learning how to perhaps type, and what to search for, and learn how a search engine works. Thinking ahead, 343 Industries decided to make a new engine that could last a while. You could argue that the Halo franchise is mostly responsible for the success of the original Xbox. When it comes to exclusives, the Halo series is a big reason for fans to purchase the Xbox console. Investing in the longevity of the Halo franchise seems like a wise move by Microsoft and 343 Industries. So there we go. And back then it was just rumoured to be released in 2020 the game. It wasn't even confirmed to release then. And it was rumoured to be a cross-gen title. So there we go. So that's the first aspect of it. The work in the game was already been delayed due to the new engine that they had to create from the ground up to run this massive game. Let's rewind back to March 24th, 2020. Halo Infinite devs are working from home to deliver the Xbox Series X launch title on time. They've been working from home with this game since March. We're now mid-August, so they've been working from home for a good period of time to get this game to meet a deadline. This is on top of all the problems it's already having, with having to create a whole new engine for the game anyway. But these guys are actually working from home to make this game, and they're getting no credit for it at all. They're not forcing a crunch on people on the development teams. Microsoft are not saying no. You're all working from a studio, and we want this game out on time. We want it perfected. You're all working 20-hour days. No, Microsoft are not doing that. Microsoft, we'll go and work from home, get the game done. And if you don't meet the target, you don't meet the target, because as they say there, this is bigger than games and bigger than Halo. They're talking about Xbox Series X. It's bigger than games and bigger than Halo. So their priority is the Xbox Series X, not Halo as a launch title. It'd be great if you meet the target. If you don't, oh well, what are you going to do? Because I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, loads of games don't meet their target. Do you want me to run through some? Yes, okay, let's do that. GT Sport didn't meet its launch target. Uncharted 4, Halo 2, Last of Us 2, Days Gone. I can just throw out games. Death Stranding, Dreams. I can just chuck games out, PS4 games that have not met their launch titles, their launch targets, and they've been delayed. And you know what? The media and fan base were going, yeah, well done. Polish the game. That's the magic word there. Polish it, make it better. We don't mind if games are delayed. Polish it. Halo gets delayed to be polished. Oh no, that's bad for business. It's bad for game. It's destroyed. Everything's over. Game over. It's just incredible. A fantastic amount of hypocrisy and contradiction just going on from a certain fan base, as always. But what makes it worse is the media that have always been biased against Xbox are also jumping on the bandwagon and trying to, as always, downplay the Xbox for clicks, because they know at the end of the day there's a very low IQ mentality of people that will click on stuff if it supports their narrative. So yes, they've been working from home producing this game, and that's just one of the other issues. Multiplayer, another factor. The game was going to release without its multiplayer. They didn't have a chance to put in the multiplayer, so it was going to release without it. And there's loads of they're looking to target 120 FPS for the multiplayer aspect of it. And reading of it, this just sounds massive. For example, the multiplayer version to perfect it, make it perfect, as it says here. It's cool to see them continue to iterate on things that the community loves, he added. Esports players have been heavily involved in what we are doing with Halo Infinite, because we know the technical challenges the team has set for themselves on multiplayer that I'm really going to get there so soon. We're able to talk about Halo Infinite. So that's multiplayer is going to release without release. Also going to have at launch no ray tracing. It was going to release with no ray tracing. That was going to come in a patch after launch. So just basically to round it all up, it was going to release with no ray tracing, no multiplayer. It would have been delayed due to moving engines, and the team were working at home making this game. You can see why Phil knocked it on the head and said, look, let's just delay it another year so you can get your shit together. Completely logical, fine explanation, and it'll be better. The game's going to be better for it. The issue is certain fan bases cannot grasp that and seem to take issue with that. and thinking that it's going to be a massive issue for Xbox Series X when it launches with no first-party franchise. Well, let's look at the PS4 release. Didn't release with one. PS4 released with Knack and Killzone. It didn't have any major first-party franchises. Additionally, PS4 was meant to launch with Drive Club, EverQuest Next, and Wipeout. Wipeout, EverQuest Next were both cancelled. Drive Club was delayed for a year, just like Halo is, and that didn't come out until 2014. And it was still a complete shambles. And the PS5, let's go forward to the PS5. The PS5 is releasing with Godfall, a timed exclusive, Bug Snacks. Yep, and Spider-Man, which is just carried over from the PS4. It's just DLC. It's only 7 hours long. It's just an expansion of the game. It's not actually a full new title. It's just it probably was going to release on the PS4. It quite obviously was going to release on the PS4, and they've delayed it because they've not got anything either. Going back to the PS4, the PS4 launched because it was light at launch. It didn't have any big first-party studios games, unlike the Xbox, which it was competing with Rise, Killer Instinct, Dead Rising, and Forza. So Sony pushed the resolution narrative. They thought they would take the lead by boasting about power and cost. And they did, and it worked. They took the lead based on power and cost. This is why people bought a PS5 for multiplats. Mostly people buy consoles for the multiplayer games like Call of Duty, FIFA. They were the two biggest games sold on the PS4, and it was price and power which led that charge. They keep getting thrown out like they have loads of great exclusives, and they list games like Uncharted 4, God of War, etc. These games didn't kick off till 2016. That's 3 years already into the PS4 timeline. So it's like you had 3 years where you didn't have any decent games, anything good. Same games, same done it every year. PS3 was the same, PS2 was the same. Sony famous for starting off dry. Will Xbox Series X start off dry? No, it's still going to come off. It's still going to come out with. It's got the medium. It's got the medium's going to drop a month after launch. We've got Crossfire X. We've got probably Microsoft Flight Sim. They probably will pull that onto the Xbox Series X for launch. Gears Tactics, they probably make a launch title. They could have even secret hidden titles that we've not yet revealed yet. They're going to drop out at the new reveal that they're doing in September. In addition to that, I wouldn't be surprised if CD Projekt Red, they go to CD Projekt Red and say, which has already been rumoured anyway, can we have Cyberpunk 2077 as a launch title for Game Pass? I would not be surprised if they throw money at that and get that on Game Pass day one. So, all in all, there we delays. PS4, The Last of Us 2 was delayed, Uncharted 4 was delayed, GT Sport was delayed, Days Gone delayed, Death Stranding delayed. I can just run off Spider-Man's delayed, run off loads and loads of titles. Every one of their games are delayed, and you get the excuse of polish. That's what I'm told. That's what you're telling me. Polish. It's good to polish games. This is exactly the same scenario. This game is being polished, and Xbox will be all the better for it. Halo, the franchise that I don't really take much care in. I've never really been into the Halo series. My favourite Halo was Halo 5, which got a lot of criticism. This is the other thing as well. I might as well bounce straight onto 343 keep getting loads of criticism, loads of hate, saying they're not as good as Bungie. Bungie were greedy money grabbers. This is partly why Microsoft and them changed over. Bungie wanted to go off and do other things, which is fine. So they went off and done Destiny. Look at Destiny 1. Do you remember that? Awful game. Complete money grab. It scored only in the 70s. Awful, terrible game. Whereas 343 went on to make Halo 4, which rated 87%. Now, if we're going to say 343 are a bad studio, but they created a Halo 4, which is 87%, then we need to compare that to PS4 titles that are rated 87% lower are also trash. Is Spider-Man trash? Ghost of Tsushima scored 82%, 83%. Is that trash as well? Are these games trash? Because 343 Studios that created a 87% rated game is trash. And then they created Halo 5, which, yes, it did drop the ball a bit, but it still scored 84%. it's still rated higher than Ghost of Tsushima. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts. You can't say, oh, the series has declined since they've taken over it. Well, GT Sport, that only rated in the 70s, much lower than previous GT games. Uncharted 4 isn't as good as Uncharted 2. Last of Us 2 is by anywhere as good as Last of Us 1. It's exactly the same. You're just talking nonsense. But anyway, let's move on. Thank you all for watching. Please sub, share and like. Share on Twitter. Put down your comments below. And goodbye for now.